Hello, my fellow adventurers. What does a treasure chest look like to you? This may not look like your typical treasure chest, but for me, it is filled with some magical loot. Let's open it up. I haven't opened this up in a little bit. I've been trying to be more organized, and these are all my old Dungeons and Dragons books. These are a bunch of character sheets, actually. Vampire the Masquerade. Woo! This is some old stuff. An old advanced Dungeons and Dragons character sheet. This piece of paper is probably 30 years old. What do we have here? Vault of the Drow, Adventures for 10 to 14. I think this eventually became Into the Abyss. Gary Gygax's Dungeon Land, 9 to 12. Where Chaos Reigns. This is a UK adventure. Ooh, 17 to 19. I have to look over some of these older adventures. Sometimes it's harder to have adventures for high-level characters. Forgotten Realms, the Magister. I don't know, this is a source book or an adventure. An accessory for characters of all levels within the Forgotten Realms. Moonshay is another location in the Forgotten Realms. Waterdeep and the North. So we do have more source books. Again, this is Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. Quite old. Ruins of Adventure. This is an adventure for levels. I don't even know what levels it is, but it is an official source book for the Pool of Radiance. That was actually a video game back in the day. They made a Pool of Radiance video game. The Slave Pits of the Undercity, A1, A2. Secret of the Slave Stockade, A3. Assault on the Slave Lords. I think there's an A4, but I don't know if I have it. Keep on the Borderlands. Oh man, this is bringing some flashbacks. It's a special instructional module. I might have to remake this for the fifth edition. I know they did make a bunch of these books, remake them, but they are sold out. They made those thick hardcover books. Journey to the Rock. This is a great one. The Lost City. Just kind of a classic beginning adventure. Classic dungeon crawl. The Ghost Tower of Inverness. I believe this was a tournament module, a one-shot for back in the day. So you would see the Ghost Tower. Test of the Warlords, adventures for levels 15 and up. The Mystery of the Snow Pearls, a companion. I don't know what this actually is. Oh, it's a solo adventure. It's a solo adventure. Oh, I don't have the tool for this. You have to put some glasses on in order to read. You gotta put glasses on in order to read the blue font. This is for lead miniatures, the original lead miniatures and Wizard. Oh, what else do we have here? Oh, look at this. First edition Dungeon Master screen. That's how we rolled back in the day. Psionic attacks on defenseless people. Wow. First edition had a lot of psionic. There's like 2-3 tables of psionics on here. Assassination levels. Grenade-like missiles. Actually, in retrospect, this Dungeon Master screen is not very good. Experience points table. Spells by class. This is probably the most important page right here. The Advanced Dungeons and Dragons 2nd Edition Dungeon Master screen. Oh my lord. Good hits and bad misses, accounting for critical hits and fumbles. This is the critical hit table I used to use back in the day. Knee split, movement halved, shield arm removed at wrist, shield arm removed at shoulder, weapon arm removed at wrist, chest injuries, death in 1 to 4 days. Yeah, this was from a Dragon or a Dungeon magazine. I'm not sure which one. And I had the fumble table. I like when they have a table that has lots of options, not just, 5. This actually has, a bunch of rolls. I would even like to see it broken down more, but there's a good amount here. Critical hits versus animals, blunt weapons, missiles and throwing weapons. This is the 2nd edition Dungeon Master screen. We have a lot more information on here. We have monster reactions, Thief tables, the turn undead table, that was kind of important. So the saving throw table, that was big. You would save against different types of attacks. Save against paralyzation, poison, and death magic. And each class would have its own ability to save against it. Save against rod, staff, and wand. Save against petrification and polymorph. That was a big one. Save against breath weapon, so any dragon attack. And save against spells. And then the different classes, priests, rogues, warriors, and wizards, would have different saves against those different attacks. So maybe a warrior would be better at saving against a poison attack, where a wizard would be better at saving against a magic attack. So that's how they did that. That's how they rolled. Lords of Darkness. This is another source book. The Adventure Pack 1. This is a game accessory. A bunch of different castles and traps and different adventures. I highlighted some stuff. Oh, you know what? The first edition Dungeon Master screen actually had two screens. So we had our saving throw table here. Saving throw against magical attacks. We had a combination weapons table. Explain some of the weapons' length, space required, the speed, how much damage that they did. So I have my first edition Dungeon Master's Guide. Oh, what a treasure chest. That's how we did it back in the day. We have our first edition Player's Handbook. Oh, this over here, I played a lot. This was a great campaign, Pirates of the Fallen Stars. So it was called the. So this one I played the heck out of. Forgotten Realms, Pirates of the Fallen Stars. There was a location called the Sea of Fallen Stars, and this was a pirate adventure. We added a lot of rules here for ship-to-ship combat. We had a captain, we had a first mate. They would sail around and they would look for treasure, just like this old treasure chest here. This was a great accessory. So it was $15 back in the day. That was pretty expensive back then for a second edition book. Let's see what else we have here. Ooh, the original Ravenloft, the Curse of Strahd. That's where it all started. 6 to 8 characters, almost 5 to 7. 8 would be a lot to run. I can do 6, but 8 people around the game table, I think that's too much. That is too much. The Ravages of Time, actually never played that one. It's another British module. The Day of Akbar. That's a 6 to 8 characters. All these things they want to have 8 characters on. This is an Arabian adventure. Ravenloft 2, The House on Griffon Hill. That was an expansion. Or actually, sorry, the next adventure. So we're going up to levels 8 to 10 on this one. The Secret of Bone Hill. Basic adventure, advanced D&D. I love the original artwork. Blizzard Pass. I played the heck out of this. This was a solo adventure. I love the artwork on it. And I believe you used a pen where the words were hidden. It was like a choose-your-own-adventure type of book. And it's all faded now, but I did this adventure more than once. Into the Maelstrom. This is at levels 25 to 30. Whoa, you couldn't even do that anymore. I guess there was no upper cap. I forgot about that. But that was into like going into the outer realms, the outer spheres, the outer planes of existence. This has a crosshatch on it because I tried to do a painting in high school of this. Levels 28 to 32. We have some of these high-level adventures, which don't really translate. Maze of the Rilling Minotaur. This was another solo adventure, M2. And also you had the choose-your-own-adventure style with the invisible ink. 5 Coins for a Kingdom. That's another high-level adventure. All the M adventures with all. Against the Giants. This is a good adventure. Levels 8 to 12. fighting all the classic giants, frost giants, storm giants. The platinum coin. This was an accessory to an adventure. It was like a magic item card. You would give it to the person as a magic item. I actually have a bunch of those in there. Hey, look at that! I have a treasure chest, and it's full of magic coins. Oh, I think this is the coins for 5 coins for a kingdom. So we have, let's see here, the gold coin, the silver coin, the electrum coin, and the copper coin. Yeah, so they put this in the 5 coins for a kingdom book. What else do we have here? Dwellers of the Forbidden City. That's another great adventure. Levels 4 to 7, a mid-level adventure. Tome of the Lizard King. Oh, this is a series, and I know one of these books is damaged. I3, I4, I5. So I3 is the Pharaoh. There was an I1. I'm not sure where it is, but this was a series of 3 books, which was absolutely excellent. So we have the Pharaoh, the Oasis of the White Sands. Again, that cover is destroyed, unfortunately. And the Lost Tomb of Martek. There is a scene where you have a ice skating like blade ship going across a glass desert. And this was an awesome desert adventure set, with the background of kind of like an Egyptian world. The Book of Marvelous Magic. That's an accessory, just different magic items. The Destiny of Kings, levels 1 to 4. Base adventure. On the Ilfarn. Don't actually remember this one, levels 0 to 3. So I think you started off as like a farmer or just really a 0 level character. A couple hit points, maybe a dagger, and then, in the first part of the adventure, you kind of level up to level 1. You become an adventurer, and then you go up from there. The Gem and the Staff, 1-on-1 competitive module for Thieves, level 8. So this was a 1-player adventure, 1 dungeon master. I believe it was 1 dungeon master, and then 1 player. So if you only had 2 people, they actually wrote an adventure for that. That's a good idea. Tomb of Horrors, classic book. Here's the original one. They've redone it many times since then. Expedition to the Barrier Peaks. This is where we're getting into like some laser weapons. They kind of went a little bit more sci-fi with this. They framed it as being magical items, but you had a laser gun. And you had to look at a computer. No way, it's upside down. The Lost Caverns of Tsochi. I'm not even sure how to pronounce that. If you can pronounce that, let me know. That's another great one. This is when they started making the thicker books now. The Temple of Elemental Evil, levels 1 to 8. And this is where they started making the actual campaign books, where, really you start at level 1 and you can actually work your way all the way up to level 8. And this was just supposed to be just a tough dungeon. A Monster's Adventure includes T1, the Village of Hamlet, The Long Way to T2, the Temple of Elemental Evil, set in the world of Greyhawk setting. This is the Greyhawk. And now we've come full circle to Greyhawk. We're back in Greyhawk in the new edition, D&D 5e, 5e.5, D&D 1, whatever you want to call it. They've returned to the world of Greyhawk. So maybe I'll review the original one. We can talk about the Greyhawk setting. The Land Beyond the Magic Mirror. It was kind of like an Alice in Wonderland. I love the Dragonlance trilogy. Never really played it in the D&D world as having Dragonlance characters. Something I would like to do. They've redone a lot of those adventures. They actually have a Dragonlance source book, but this was where it started. And this is the final book in the Dragonlance series, DL 13. So I guess there's DL 1 to 12. The Halls of the High King. This is an adventure. I don't even remember reading this one or having it. Got some maps, of course. They love their maps. All That Glitters, another UK one. I played it. It's a strange one. It's definitely a strange adventure. Dark Clouds Gather, another UK one. For that artwork, really like when the monster's coming towards you, right? Oh, flying demons and flying monkeys, like the Wizard of Oz. The Isle of Dread. This is an old one, levels 3 to 7, for Advanced Dungeons and Dragons Expert set. So, I mean, we're taking a step back. A special introductory wilderness module. So they had some wilderness and tree settings, which maybe you didn't see in the regular books, by some source information. This was one of the strangest adventures I've ever run. The Castle de Amber, Chateau de Amberville. The characters are set in a magical French-type castle, and a lot of stuff goes wrong. I remember one of the characters, one of the players was playing, he was a potion guy, and before they had the alchemist, or really before they had the new artificer with the alchemist subclass, he was a potion maker, and he would be selling potions in the middle of combat as you're dying. He'd be like, "You want to buy a potion?" And it was pretty funny. But this was a brutal, weird adventure. So something maybe I'd like to run again. Put our characters through some brutality. This is the Temple of Death. Don't really remember much about that one. The War Rafts of Kron. I think I pulled some information from here for the pirate setting. Gargoyle. It's a Greyhawk adventure. Okay, so maybe we'll take another look at that, because we're talking about the world of Greyhawk, compatible with Advanced Dungeons & Dragons 2nd edition system. So, you know, they kind of had that split between Advanced Dungeons & Dragons and 2nd edition. As they were creating, there was kind of a split. So they were making adventures that were compatible with both systems. It was kind of a system split. The Isle of Dread. Do I have 2 of those? Maybe I have 2 of those. The Crown of Ancient Glory, level 7 to 10. Lathan's Gold. This is a solo adventure. I think this is another one with the... no, it's not with the pen. I think you actually have to look at the different numbers to see where you go in the book. It's definitely a more choose-your-own-adventure style. We have some of the adventures set in like the Middle East with the tales of genies and sultans. These were box sets. The Land of Fate. This is a pretty hefty box set. It's got some weight to it. There's a lot of stuff in it. Let's take a quick look. Got some maps. Arabian Adventures. It's a thick book. Still in pretty good shape. Look through that separately. I'm not sure which world it's set in. I guess I had a bunch of those. Bunch of those. The Assassin Mountain. Karator, the Eastern Realms. So this was the Mysterious Orient ninjas and samurai and food dogs and Oni and Ogre Magi and all that stuff. The Dark Sun. Oh, this was a brutal setting. Face the fire of the Dark Sun, a world ravaged by sorcery. When you cast a spell, you would actually suck the power from the ground and kill the plants and kill anything that was living. So the more, if you were standing next to a tree and you were a wizard and you cast a spell, you could pull a lot of energy from a tree. This book here we have a player aid book. So it's a spiral book. We have a lot of the original artwork and maps. And then we have some character sheets in here. Nice, I didn't know that. A comprehensive guide to the lands and people of Athas, a wanderer's journal. So it's a great source book. I mean, there's everything in here you need to play. Like you play the world of the Dark Sun. The basic rules. I had the original purple box and red box. Well, this is the red box, but I had the original 1st edition boxes. I'm not sure if I still have them. Oh, but I do have, maybe the boxes haven't survived, but I have my original basic rule book. You see the artwork. And so I was just having a discussion with my buddy Scott. Check this out. The carrion crawler has eight attacks. He has 8 tentacles. So he has 8 attacks, and each one can paralyze you. It's just brutal. I mean, it's brutal. If you get hit, you're fighting a first edition monster, and he comes in and he gets to hit you 8 times. Where the new monsters, maybe 1, 2, or 3 attacks if they have like a multi-attack. But back then it was just, okay, I'm attacking 8 times, make a paralysis save 8 times until you get hit. We have the expert rules. Taking it up a notch here, huh? Spells from back in the day. Let's look at the first level spells for the magic user and elf. Charm person, detect magic, floating disc, hold portal, light, magic, missile, protection from evil, read languages, read magic. A little difference there, right? Shield, sleep, ventriloquism. So that's how they listed the spells. It was a lot more basic. There wasn't much information, just 1 paragraph for each spell. And then we got into the red book. This actually has a solo adventure in it. This is what the original character sheets looked like, or what they would kind of recommend. Again, not as much information as today, but it was enough to play the game. All right. And then to finish up our little adventure here, we'll take a look at these books here. We have Forgotten Realms, The Savage Frontier, The Principles of Gallantry. This is a source book for a realm that I guess you would consider Genghis Khan, the steppes near Russia was kind of that world. They took a lot of inspiration from, our real world, of course. Our creature catalog is almost like a different version of a monster manual. Just had more creatures. Hey, look, we got a turtle. He actually took years and years, but he finally became a playing character race. And then, like I said, we had the Player's Handbook, the original Deities and Demigods, which this is not the one with the Cthulhu mythos. That one's worth a lot more money. But they did break it up into North mythos, Indian mythos, Greek mythos, Finnish, Chinese, Central American, Celtic, Babylonian, the world of King Arthur. So, you could really pull from any of these worlds. They gave stats for actual, King Arthur's knights and, what each one had a different ability. King Arthur himself. Another adventure slipped in there. Empire of the Sands. Put that off to the side. So the Fiend Folio was a tome of creatures malevolent and benevolent. So this was just another version of Monster Manual, but just with weirder creatures. Because of course there was a Monster Manual, right? A first edition Monster Manual for Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. This book is showing a lot of wear and tear. There's a little original Mind Flayer. If I'm not mistaken, the artwork for the original book, each artist was given like a letter. So the same artist was probably drawing M, and at some point probably switched over to a different artist. So this was probably cut off. Somebody did Mind Flayer, and then a new artist got Minotaur, got the other characters. And then you'll go through the book, and when you get to a different area, you'll see a change in the style of the art. Monster Manual 2. So we stepped up with some new monsters. And I think they did the same thing with the artwork in that. Different artists were assigned different letters, and they had to do like these blurb boxes with the pictures of the creatures. The Manual of the Planes. This is really where the Outer Planes came from. Jeff Grubb sat down, and really hashed out the entire book of, other planes of existence, the nine hells. We have the explained pandemonium, and the features of those outer planes like the abyss. And that kind of grew and grew and grew into more and more content that we have just a ton of source books today. The original Dragonlance Adventures, again, I never had a chance to play it, but I did buy the source book, and now they have a new 5th edition version of it, which I should pick up. I don't think I have. Oriental Adventures. This is all the ninja and the samurai stuff. We did play a lot of this. Looks like my book is falling apart a little bit. And then we have the 2nd edition Player's Handbook, 2nd edition Dungeon Master's Guide, and 2nd edition Forgotten Realms. So thank you for spending this time to look at my treasure chest. I hope everybody has a happy and healthy new year, and I hope you find some treasures in the new year yourself. Until next, adventurer.